meditation, he did not practice silence. It was silence. He wasn't watching his breath. He was breath. Even the void respected him. Wherever he sat, whether it was the crest of Mount Kailash or the hollow space of non-existence, the atmosphere bent itself around him, like a student waiting patiently for the master to speak. But he never spoke. What could he say? There was no one to listen. There was no need for explanation. Truth doesn't raise its voice. For eons, Shiva sat. The snakes curled around his neck were not ornaments. They were metaphors for time, for fear, for rebirth. Even death found peace wrapped around him. His third eye, the eye that sees through illusion, remained closed, because illusion hadn't arrived yet. It was Brahma who eventually got tired of waiting. He rolled up his celestial sleeves and began creating first air, then water, then fire, then land, then tiny things that wiggled, then large things that roared. Vishnu, loyal as ever, took notes and made spreadsheets, ready to preserve this new experiment. Everything seemed to be falling into place, and yet it wasn't enough, because without Shiva, without destruction, without dissolution, creation was a mess of beginnings with no ends, like a party that no one ever left. Creation begged for balance, and balance was sitting quietly in meditation, blissfully unaware or uncaring, or maybe he was perfectly aware and just letting the others figure it out the hard way. They tried tempting him, offering palaces in the sky, garlanded thrones, concerts from the heavenly musicians. Nothing worked, you see. When you've seen the entire universe dissolve into stillness, when you are that stillness, a few dancing apsaras don't really hold your attention, not even with excellent choreography. The gods, desperate, decided to bring in the big guns. Not war, love. If Shiva could not be swayed by logic or beauty or wealth, maybe, just maybe, he could be nudged by desire, a risky move. Of course, love, after all, is not a gentle visitor, especially when it arrives uninvited. They sent Kama, the god of desire, a confident fellow, armed with sugar-cane bow and arrows tipped with flower petals, charming, persistent, mildly overconfident. He tiptoed toward Shiva's meditation, crouched behind a cloud, and took aim, one arrow, straight into the heart chakra. The effect was instant.
Hello guys, if you
Shiva
like, subscribe
opened
my
his
channel.
third eye.
If you have any kind of problem, you can share with me.
After a long meditation,
I am trying to
they
resolve
might
it.
stretch, smile, yawn,
So please
or
subscribe
mumble
my
something
channel.
about the meaning of life. When Shiva opens his third eye, however, things ignite, Kama, poor soul, at just enough time.
Hello guys,
to blink
subscribe please my
before he
channel.
was
If you have any
reduced
kind
to
of problem,
fragrant ash.
you can
The
share
message
with
was
me.
clear. Don't bring drama to the one who mastered peace. The gods once again backed away quietly.
Hello
Maybe
guys, how
it
are
was time
you?
to let
I
Shiva
hope so
be,
you are doing
but
well.
love had already been let loose.
You
and it
subscribe
never
my channel.
travels
Hi,
alone. Even after Kama's dramatic exit, his influence lingered.
how are you?
Seeds had been planted. Something had shifted. Shiva
Please
had
subscribe my
stirred,
channel.
not much, but enough. Then came Sati.
If you have any kind of
Now,
problem, good.
Sati was no
Wow.
ordinary princess. She wasn't
Nice.
interested in gossip or jewels or high society rituals. She was born of Daksha, a powerful king with a neatly trimmed beard, sharp
$100.
opinions, and an ego taller than Mount Meru. He was proud, traditional, and absolutely not a fan of ascetic
So which
forced
type of
men
price is
who
$100
smeared
means?
themselves with ash and hung out in cemeteries.
What
In
do you
other
want?
words, he hated Shiva. Sati, of course, fell deeply in love with Shiva the moment she laid eyes on him.
Okay.
Perhaps it wasn't just his form, though it was striking, in a rugged mountain man sort of way.
Good.
Perhaps it was his stillness, his refusal to perform. his utter indifference to approval, while other men
So tell
shouted
me,
their
guys,
names into the wind. Shiva
where are you
whispered
from?
nothing, and it echoed louder than any thunder. She approached him, not with demands or poetry or dance. She simply sat
Yeah, I know
nearby,
that when you
not too
convert.
close, just enough. Shiva, ever the observer, noticed a flicker,
Good.
perhaps a curiosity, a smile that
Ring
didn't
a
quite
ding.
reach the corners of his lips. But the Himalayas noticed. It was not an instant love story. Shiva doesn't do instant. He does timeless, but slowly, gently, steadily, something thawed. Maybe he admired her determination. Maybe he
Can
saw
you
in her the
sing?
mirror of
Yeah,
his
why
own
not?
fire, cloaked in calm.
Yeah,
Whatever it was, the yogi
which
and
song?
the princess became
Ring a
partners in
ding.
silence. They married, not with grandeur or ceremony, no
But I
flying
don't
elephants
know
or
actually
exploding
lyrics.
lotuses, just vows exchanged under the
Which part of
sky,
this? Ring a
witnessed
ding?
by mountains and wind.
Sing
Sati was
Christmas
content.
song.
Shiva, in his own
Okay.
way, was at peace.
Jingle
But
bell,
Daksha was
jingle bell,
furious.
jingle all the
He
way.
could not accept this marriage. He saw Shiva as unwashed,
Actually, I don't know, remember
unsuitable.
full of the
So when he
lyrics.
held a great sacrifice, a grand ritual to
So
honor
I
the
can't
gods,
sing it
he
properly.
invited everyone except Shiva. This was not just a social slight. It was a cosmic insult. Sati, hurt and angry, decided to attend, not to protest, just to
Fire
be there,
singing.
maybe to remind her
Okay.
father that love is not a political arrangement, maybe to defend her husband's name. But when she arrived,
And
the
where are you
air
from?
was thick with mockery. Shiva's name was dragged through dust,
Fire
and
singing?
Daksha, in all his pride, welcomed her not as a
Okay,
daughter,
don't worry.
but as a
You can go
disappointment.
now.
Heartbroken, Sati realized she could not live in a world that
Okay, you
insulted
like
what
and
she held
subscribe. Thank
sacred.
you,
She
buddy.
turned to the sacred fire and stepped in, not in anger, not in
Yeah,
despair, but in an act of
I
purity,
needed this
of
time because
power.
I have a
When Shiva found
not a
out,
much
he
more
did not
subscriber.
cry, he did not scream, he did not curse the
Yeah, I'm
heavens.
working
He
hard
roared, and that
on
roar,
YouTube,
silent or loud,
but I
who
don't
could
get it
say,
much more
cracked
subscribers.
the sky. Grief has many forms. For some, it comes with tears and trembling voices. For
Don't
others,
worry.
it comes with silence, so complete that the world forgets to breathe. Shiva's grief was the latter. When Sati immolated herself at her father's sacrifice, something ancient and untouchable,
I'm
she
not
could
connecting
collapse.
to the
The
other
one
thing.
who had
I'm
watched
also applying
time
to the
unfold
simple
with the
way.
detachment of a mountain. Broke. He did not weep, not in the way mortals do, but his
Not meant
sorrow
for
was
the kings.
cosmic,
Yeah, it's a
elemental,
good.
wild. He lifted her burnt body from the flames, cradling her in
So,
arms
guys,
that had held
how can I
nothing but
help you?
air for millennia. He did not speak. He did not
You
look
can
at
talk with
anyone.
me.
He walked through valleys, across
Yeah, I
rivers,
am
over
available here for
mountaintops,
you.
through rain, through sunlight,
You
through
have any
snow.
kind of
The earth tried to
problem?
follow, but even she could not
You
keep
can share
pace
with
with
me.
his pain. Wherever he walked with Sati's body, the very laws of nature faltered. Trees shed their leaves in mourning. Animals stopped mating. Fire grew cold. Water stilled. The planets, confused, slowed in their orbit. Time hesitated. Creation whispered to itself, what happens when the destroyer cannot let go? The gods, terrified,
So, guys,
approached Vishnu, ever the problem solver.
please like and
Vishnu
subscribe my
knew
channel.
that Shiva could not be stopped, but perhaps he could be freed, one by one. Vishnu used his divine discus to cut Sati's body into pieces, allowing each part to fall to the earth. It was not cruelty, it was mercy. And where each piece fell, a Shakti Peeth was born, sacred sites that even now pulse with her presence. When the last fragment left
Hello,
Shiva's
guys.
arms,
If
he
you want
stopped.
to talk
He
with me,
looked at his hands, now
you can
empty
join my
and
channel.
shut
Like
down.
and
He
subscribe.
closed his eyes, and once again
Hi,
he
Ladli.
returned
How are
to
you?
stillness. But this time it was not the stillness of peace. It was the stillness of devastation.
Please like and subscribe
A
my channel.
silence that had
I need
forgotten
it.
joy. The world limped on creation, preserved by Vishnu, continued to function. But without Shiva's dance, there was no transformation. Without his gaze, no illusion could be burned away. And somewhere in the gentle
Hello,
hills
guys.
of the Himalayas, a girl was born.
How are you?
A girl who would bring him back. Her name was Parvati. She was not just anyone. She was Sati, reborn, her soul, fierce and ancient, had returned with purpose. But this time, she would not burn herself to prove her devotion. This time, she would make Shiva rise.
Hello, guys. How are
Parvati
you?
grew up
How are
surrounded
you?
by the fragrances of mountain herbs and the songs of wild birds. Her father, Ranjan, the of the Himalayas, raised her with care. She was graceful, intelligent, and radiantly calm. But from a young age, her thoughts were filled with one image: a man sitting beneath the sky, unmoved by the world, covered in ash, adorned with snakes. His eyes closed, but his presence vast. She knew him before she knew himself. It began like most troubles do with a disagreement. The devas and the asuras, gods and demons.
चलिए बना तो इसमें क्या है बनाइए
स्टेट खाइए गई मैं
Hello, guys. How are you?
How are you? Comment.
Please like and subscribe my channel.
ठीक है अब मैंने से देता मिक्सर
चलिए बनाइए
जल्दी
क्या क्या काम है
सुनो मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी मैं तुम्हारा पति हो जाता है सुनो
हाँ
तुम्हारी पत्नी
तुम्हारा पति
मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
क्या फंसी जिंदगी पे
सुनो मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
मैं तुम्हारा पति
और मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
अरे लानत है इसी जिंदगी पे थू।
सही आगे पीछे हो गया
ऐसे करते रहना मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
ठीक है
सुनो
हाँ
मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
ये तुम्हारा पति
और मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
लालत है इसी जिंदगी पे तू
दोबारा काटी आगे सुनो मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
मैं तुम्हारा पति
और मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
अरे लानत है इसी जिंदगी पे थू।
मजा नहीं आ रहा सही बात है।
सुनो
हाँ?
मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
मैं
तुम्हारा पति
और मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
अरे
लालत है इसी जिंदगी पे
थू।
तो
सुनो मैं तुम्हारी पत्नी
मैं तुम्हारा पति
और मैं तुम्हारी जिंदगी
अरे लानत है इसी जिंदगी पे थू।
ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं बन रहा है आज कोई बात नहीं ठीक है क्या है लानत
लालच है जिंदगी हम खाली विदेशी के जड़ हैं का
नहीं सब इंडिया के हैं। हिंदी में कौन बात करने जाएगा यार, जिसको समझ में आएगा समझेगा, नहीं समझेगा। क्या काम कर रहे थे, काम अटक गया यार इस सब्सक्राइबर के चक्कर में।
were locked in an eternal tug of war. Neither side could claim full victory, yet neither could retreat. They fought for power, for immortality, for that elusive drop of nectar
बनाइए
on which the divine elixir that performed all suffering, all death, all doubt. But the amulet was not easy to find. It lay hidden in the depths of the cosmic ocean, the pure fiber, the milky sea that held both poison and paradise. To retrieve it, the ocean would have to be churned, a task so immense, so dangerous, that even Hamlet had to join in. And so, in a rare and uneasy alliance, God and demons came together. They chose Mount Mandara as the churning rod and Vasuki, the serpent king, as the rope, holding the mountain steady atop the back of the great tortoise Kurma, an avatar of Vishnu. They began to churn the ocean, back and forth, God on one side, demons on the other. The ocean groaned, the sky trembled, and slowly treasures began to emerge. Divine herbs, divine birds, magical beings, celestial animals,
ठीक है,
wealth beyond
हमारा
comprehension.
सड़िया छेद दीजिएगा
King the
हम हटा देंगे फिर से करके,
thick, black,
हटा देंगे
ancient,
फिर से।
older than time, older than land.
इम्पोर्टेंट बात चल रहा था, हटा
It
देंगे।
spilled out, not as liquid, but as vapor.
सुनो, तुम रोज आंवला खाया करो, उससे खून साफ रहेगा।
अच्छा, आपके खून भी साफ चाहिए,
अरे जो है
तो
वही
एक
पी लिया
तो
करो।
करो।
Eyes wide, hands trembling. Even the demons,
सुनो, तुम रोज आंवला खाया करो, उससे खून साफ रहेगा।
अच्छा, अब तुम्हें खून भी साफ चाहिए। अरे जो है वही पी लिया करो।
ready to spread across the worlds, to poison air, water, earth, breath itself.
अच्छी क्यों कर रहे
For the
हैं
first time in eons, the gods truly panicked. There was no plan, no
सुनो, तुम रोज आंवला खाया करो, उससे खून साफ रहेगा।
अच्छा, अब तुम्हें खून भी साफ चाहिए,
अरे जो है वही पी लिया करो।
He had not asked for nectar.
सुनो, तुम रोज आंवला खाया करो, उससे खून साफ रहेगा।
अच्छा, अब तुम्हें खून भी साफ चाहिए। अरे जो है वही पी लिया करो।
सुनो, तुम रोज आंवला खाया करो, उससे खून साफ रहेगा।
But to its destroyer, Shiva came as he always does, silently, without fanfare. No army followed him. No chariot carried him.
Hello guys, please like and subscribe my
His
channel.
eyes calm.
You have any kind of problem, you can share with me.
River and ash.
I am
He
trying to
looked at the
resolve
churning
it.
sea, at the trembling gods, at the sky turning black. And then he did something no one had expected. He walked forward. Before anyone could speak, before a single verse could be chanted, Shiva bent down and cut the poison in his hands. His fingers, covered in ash, touched the essence of death and did not tremble. He lifted the hala hala to his lips and drank it. No hesitation, no drama, just a deep, steady breath. The gods gasped, the demons froze, the poison slid down his throat like liquid shadow. But Shiva did not collapse. He did not scream. He did not burn. He simply closed his eyes, and in that moment, time held its breath. The poison stopped at his throat. It did not move deeper. His heart, his breath, his breath unchanged. but
तो
his
बताओ
hope
भारत के प्रधानमंत्री कौन है?
strong faith turned deep
उसे ना मैं जो भी
covered
सवाल
not a losing, but a sacrifice, a power contained, a pain willingly held.
चढ़ाई बना लेते हैं।
आपको बाबा जी के प्रवचन सुनने के लिए बोला ना?
तो आज सोमवार तो ये नहीं किया जाता है यार, क्या मतलब कि वो करें ऐसे वीडियो
कौन सी
बनाना।
बाबा के प्रवचन
So that
सुन
the
रहे हैं?
world
संकट इधर चल रहा है।
Parvati, watching from afar, rushed.
धार्मिक मतलब कि धार्मिक को दिन पूरा दिन रहा जाता है।
ठीक है, धार्मिक को भी वीडियो बनाने।
ठीक है भाई।
ए बोले बाबा सुखी सलामत हमरो परिवार, ये लोग बना के।
तो भोले बाबा का बनाया सुबह सुबह, किसी का नहीं बना। चला फटाफट स्टार्ट करते हैं।
उसे ना मैं जो भी सवाल पूछूं उसका जवाब फटाफट देना।
हाँ सर।
तो बताओ भारत के प्रधानमंत्री कौन है?
गलती हो गया, हाँ सर बोलना भूल गया।
उसे ना मैं जो भी सवाल
हाँ सर बोलना है, फिर बोलना है सब ठीक है।
उसे ना मैं जो भी सवाल पूछूं उसका जवाब फटाफट देना।
हाँ सर।
तो बताओ भारत के प्रधानमंत्री कौन है? उसे ना मैं जो भी सवाल पूछूं उसका जवाब फटाफट देना।
हाँ सर।
तो बताओ भारत के प्रधानमंत्री कौन है? उसे ना मैं जो भी सवाल पूछूं उसका जवाब फटाफट देना।
हाँ सर।
तो बताओ भारत के प्रधानमंत्री कौन है?
Gently on his neck, calming the storm inside. She did not weep. She knew her husband. This was not the first time he had embraced death. It would not be the last. The gods bowed, unsure whether to cry in gratitude or hide in shame. They had come to him only in desperation, and he had saved them without question, such as Shiva. He does not ask for praise. He does not seek reward. When duty calls, he answers, not because he must, but because he is the one who does what others cannot. The
ये
poison
दूसरा
did
चार
not
चल गया तो
disappear.
मतलब
It lived on inside him, coiled like a sleeping serpent, held at bay by his
ये वो ये
will.
लोग को भी
Every
बनाना
breath
है
he
ऐसा।
took
जो
was a reminder.
10,000 भी लगे
Danger
हैं।
can be
साड़ी
held
पहने हैं ना अलग
if
अलग
one
डिजाइन।
is willing to carry the weight.
हाँ,
Afterward, the agate finally emerged
Okay.
from the ocean, gleaming, golden, everything the gods had hoped for. They celebrated, fought over it, tricked the demons, and danced in triumph. But no celebration echoed as loudly in the halls of existence as the quiet moment when Shiva swallowed
ये
the
लोग कल
darkness.
1700 चली गई
And then he
है।
walked away. He returned to Kailash, to his snowy solitude, to his family and his silence. The world kept turning. The gods resumed their debates. The demons plotted again. But high on the mountain, far from politics and praise,
सुनो जी,
Neelkant
अगर
sat
मुझे
in
कोई
meditation.
खूबसूरत
His
नौजवान
throat
भगा कर ले जाए
gloomy,
तो आप क्या
his
करोगे?
heart clear, his silence eternal. And somewhere, deep in the sky
Someone
that had
ज़्यादा
once
का
turned
problem,
black,
million,
a
million.
breeze stirred, cool,
ये 30,000 मिलियन
and grateful.
मिलियन।
There are many kinds of silence, the kind that calms,
इसका मिलियन
the kind that
सब्सक्राइबर भी तो है।
suffocates, the
हाँ,
kind
million
that
subscriber
lingers
है।
after
सुनो जी,
laughter,
अगर
and the kind that precedes a storm. Shiva had known them all. He had lived in silence so long that even time had learned to tiptoe around him. But when grief took fatigue,
मिलियन जा रहा है,
when love
ज़्यादा जा
turned to
रहा है।
ashes,
ये
a
अपने
new
से
silence was born, one that trembled with fury beneath its surface. When he lifted her burning body and wandered the world, he was not walking, he was
सुनो जी,
waiting,
अगर मुझे
waiting for
कोई
something to
खूबसूरत
break.
नौजवान
And
भगा
when
कर ले जाए
Vishnu had
तो आप क्या
severed the
करोगे?
final memory
तो
from
मैं
his
उसको अपने
arms,
पास बुलाऊंगा
something
और
did
मैं
break, not
उसको 120
outside,
रुपए दूंगा।
but within. Shiva, the calm Shiva,
सुनो जी,
the
अगर मुझे
Shiva, the
कोई
silent
खूबसूरत नौजवान
Shiva,
भगा कर
the
ले जाए
Shiva.
तो आप क्या
They
करोगे?
say when a
तो मैं
god
उसको अपने
leaves,
पास बुलाऊंगा
galaxies
और
slither,
मैं
but
उसको
when
120
Shiva
रुपए
खुद
dances,
के आप भी कहिएगा
it
इसे
forgets
कुत्ते
how
हम भी
to
कहेंगे
hold
हैं।
itself together.
बन
He
जाए
did
कुछ
not
अच्छा लगे
scream,
लोगों
he
को।
did not summon, he danced.
10
This was
मिलियन कौन
not
जगह 3 मिलियन
performance,
चाहिए,
not
3 मिलियन का काम
celebration,
है।
not even ritual.
हाँ
This
तो हम
was
लोग
the
को 3 मिलियन
Tandava,
चाहिए।
the dance of
2 को मिलेगा
destruction.
में 3 मिलियन
Each
में 10
movement
मिलियन।
was a force of nature.
हैं?
Each stamp of his foot
आपको
crackled
कहते हैं
spine
सिखा
of
दीजिए।
resistance.
बेटवा लगे बंगाल से।
Shattered oceans boil, Flowers
काट दिए
smoke from an angry fire, and yet it was beautiful, not in spite of its destruction. Because of it. He raised his arms, and time bent. He spun, and the stars lost their balance. He leapt, and the breath of life paused. Creation itself stood at the edge of erasure, not out of hate, but because the dancer had become the storm. His matted locks whipped through the air, striking sparks into the sky. The crescent moon on his head burned like a halo. The snake coiled around his neck, lifted its hooves and swayed in rhythm. Even the ashes on his body came alive, leaping with each motion, marking the tempo of apocalypse. And yet, in all this fury, there was precision. The Tandava was not madness. It was math, it was cosmic rhythm, a language older than words, where each gesture meant something. His foot lifted, birth, his hand opened, expansion. His foot fell, destruction, his gaze shifted, renewal. This was the cycle: creation, preservation, destruction, illusion, and grace, all bound into one dance, one heartbeat, one step. The gods watched in awe and terror. They had seen Shiva in many forms: the meditating sage, the land, the fierce protector. But this was the force behind the universe, revealed without filter, and they feared he would not stop. Because what could stop a god dancing in his own grief? They turned to Parvati, not the Sati of fire and pain, but the Parvati of patience and presence. She had not yet become his partner in the truest sense, but she could feel the rhythm from afar, like a song calling to her bones. She stepped into the storm, but with softness, not with orders, but with understanding. She did not try to halt him. She danced with him. Her movements were the
लेकिन ये वो लग रहा है कमेंट पाने वाला वीडियो
where
लग
he
रहा है
stamped, she turned. Where he spun, she glided. Where he roared, she breathed. And in that union, the storm found balance. Tandava became Lasya. Destruction met grace, and rage met compassion. Their duet told the oldest story. That fury, when embraced by love, becomes transformation. That even destruction has rhythm. That Shiva is not to be feared, but to be understood. Slowly, the earth stopped trembling. The fire cooled, the winds softened, and Shiva, the destroyer, exhaled. He looked at Parvati, not with fire in his eyes, but with recognition. Not of who she was, but of who he had become with her by his side. He did not apologize. Shiva does not apologize. He
ऐसे होगा
transforms. And the world now remade, looked up at the sky and whispered his name, not in fear, but in reverence. The dance ended, but the memory of it echoed through centuries, through temples carved in stone, through chants murmured in the dark, through hearts that broke and healed again. Shiva did not destroy to end the world. He destroyed to begin it anew. And sometimes to truly understand love,
तो डाला गया ना बोला
first watch it dance.
कल बनाएंगे इसमें फिर से
There are rivers that quench thirst.
ठीक है ना
And then there are rivers that carry memory, prayer, and the very heartbeat of civilization. Among all rivers, one flows not just through valleys and cities, but through the verses of ancient songs, the hearts of millions, and even the strands of a god's hair. She is not just water, she is story, she is Ganga. But Ganga did not always flow on earth. She was celestial, untamed, radiant with a power no land could contain. And long before her waters kissed the soil of Barit, she flowed in the heavens, shimmering like liquid moonlight, watched over by the gods far from mortal reach.
क्या दोनों लाना है कितना लेने का 2.5 kg ना 3 kg
प्याज देगा 50 का 4 किलो और आलू देगा 50 का 2.5 किलो, ले लीजिए 100 रुपये का।
ठीक